Hey guys, it's Quifa. Welcome to your hangover cure sequence. Today's class, we're going to focus on making you feel as good as you can with a hangover. So, we're going to work on relieving any kind of sickness in your stomach, relieving a headache. We're going to stimulate our lymph system, and that will help us to rehydrate quicker. So rehydration is so important when you get a hangover. What else? Yeah, releasing tension in our hips, shoulders and jaw, all those areas that we tend to kind of build the tension with a hangover. And once we release that, we're going to recover much quicker. Okay, so for this session, you need a towel or a blanket or a mat. We're going to use the floor and the wall. There's another hangover video that I have which just uses a chair. So if you're feeling like this is, whoa, way too much, then go check out the other video. When you're ready, let's start. So we're gonna begin at the wall, folding forward. So you can, if you're not sure about positioning, you can actually sit yourself down, put your feet against the wall. Just take a little note of where your bottom is, and then when you stand up, I want you to put your feet where they were, where your bottom was. So we're kind of working at coming into a 90 degree. So taking your hands onto the wall, gently allow your chest to fall towards the floor and stop once you feel that you're in a 90 degree position. Little bend in your knees, and you should feel a stretch into your shoulders. So pushing your hands into the wall to stop them from moving any further down the wall. If this is too much, you can also start further up and just melt your chest down through your shoulders. Find a point that works for you. Again, a little bend in those knees. If you're able, you can think about drawing your ribs together, drawing your belly in ever so slightly. Little bend in your elbows as well to protect them from overextending. Little squeeze into your bottom if you're finding it difficult to stay stable. Breathing here. Allowing your body to open. You can take your head, right side of your head to your right upper arm. So right ear to right arm, left ear to left arm. Just thinking about lengthening the top of your head forward. And then if you would like, you can then just relax it down. Breathing here. Maybe you want to release your hands down a little bit more. Chest is melting through your shoulders. It can be kind of an intense stretch, but it should also be somewhat relaxing. Think about your shoulder blades drawn together at the back. But when you're ready, you can allow your hands to come all the way down towards the floor. Maybe they don't touch the floor, it doesn't really matter. We're going to ragdoll it out, so feet hip width distance apart. Right hand comes to your left elbow, left hand. Right elbow or right forearm. Allow the weight of your torso just to fall towards the floor. Releasing through your spine. Again, we got a little bend in your knees. Breathing here. Maybe you want to open widely through your mouth. Wiggle through your face. Releasing all that tension that builds up there. Okay, and then we're going to release our hands down towards the mat. Maybe they don't touch the mat or the ground, but either way, hands are released. Gently draw your core in, squeeze a little bit into your bottom. We're going to come up one vertebrae at a time. So you're thinking about from your lower spine, stacking one little bit of your spine on top of the next as we roll up. Really gently, top of your head is reaching towards the ground until your shoulders come up. We come to standing. Great job. So we're going to work more at releasing through our shoulders. If you're up for it, stay on your feet. Hip width distance is good. If you're really struggling, come down onto your knees. whatever works. Maybe you roll over your mat, maybe you put a cushion or a blanket under there. I'm going to stay standing. So we're going to stretch through our shoulder. Using the wall is an incredible way to open through your shoulder. We're going to do like the shape of a clock, an analog clock. So you maybe want to think about being maybe 1.5 foot distance, one of your feet's distance from the wall. I'm going to go with 1. Reach your hand up as high as you can into like 12 o'clock. Core is strong. Your ribs are funneling down, so they're kind of like trying to knit together. Shoulders are dropping, just melting away from your ears. Got good posture and breathing, most importantly. So reach that left hand up and gently push a little bit more into your left foot and teeny bend in those knees, you know it. So even though you're reaching with that left hand, your left shoulder is drawing down. Maybe you want to lean into it a little bit, so lean your upper body into the wall a little bit, depending on how tight your shoulders are. And then walking with your fingertips. We're going to walk back to like 11 o'clock, keeping your chest facing forward, so making sure you're not twisting your body with it. If this is too much, then take a step out from the wall to create less tension. Little bend in that left elbow. All of our joints, we always put a little bend in them, just 1 millimeter even, to protect them. Breathing here, making sure you breathe into the stretch. Maybe you feel an opening in your chest. And when you're ready, walk your hand back to 10 o'clock. Again, let's go through some of the points that you want to focus on. Little bend in your left elbow, keeping your chest facing forward. Hips are also facing forward. If it's too much pressure, you take a step away from the wall to give yourself more space. Breathing here. And right shoulder is also drawn back, so that'll help you to keep your chest open. Top of your head is reaching high. And maybe for me, I'm actually pushing more into my right foot now to keep myself stable. And then your hand comes to 9 o'clock. So it's really important now that you don't overextend that left elbow. And keep breathing. And when you're ready, we're going to take it down to 8 o'clock. Palm is still flat on the wall. Maybe when you get to this point again, it's a little bit easier for you, so you can lean a little bit of weight in, protecting that left elbow. We're going to come down to 7 o'clock. Lengthening up through the top of your head. Coming down to 6 o'clock. I think at 6 you can really push into the wall. And then you can twist your hand around. It's kind of easier this side. 5 o'clock, lengthen through your arm. Core is strong. Let's go 4 o'clock. Let's go 3 o'clock. Shoulders really actively drawing down away from your ear. 2 o'clock. 1 o'clock. Even here I'm getting a good stretch. It's different from before. 12 o'clock. Great job. Okay, we're going to do the same on the other side. So I'm going to turn away from me now. So we start at 12. You know the story. You need to realign yourself. Go for like 1, maybe 1.5 of your feet's length away from the wall. I'm going to go about 1, reaching up to what would be 12 o'clock. Shoulder drawing away from your ear. Little bend in your knees. Little bend in your elbow. Maybe you want to push your weight gently against the wall. Breathing there. Chest is forward. So like perpendicular with the wall, hips are forward. And then you start to walk back to 1 o'clock this time. So shifting whatever way you're working your clock, shifting your hand behind you. And when you shift, making sure that your hips and your shoulders stay facing forward. Taking as much time as you need in each of these postures. If your left shoulder is kind of trying to draw in towards the wall, you replace your left hand on your left hip and open through your left shoulder. I'm going to bring my hand back to 2 o'clock now, making sure that you have a little bend in that elbow. Enjoying the stretch, making sure as well that no tension is building in your jaw, so rolling through your jaw as you need. Keep breathing. Let's go 3 o'clock. Maybe you want to push a little bit more weight into the wall, stretching through the front of your chest. Every single muscle and tendon, ligament, fascia is all linked in our body. So when we stretch along the front of our chest, it will also help us to relieve our headache, stimulate our lymph system, bring more energy to our body, release endorphins. Bring my hand back to 4 o'clock. It's mostly straight, but still a little bend. Now we go 5 o'clock, drawing my right shoulder away from your ear. And then 6 o'clock, get your lean into the wall a little bit more. Then you flip your hand over, come to 7 o'clock, stretching through your arm. As your arm comes out in front of you, it's more important to really stretch actively through your arm. You're going to come to 8 o'clock. Big, deep breaths. Let's go 9 o'clock. 10 o'clock. Shoulder drawing away from your ear. 11 o'clock. Back to 12, feeling the difference from when you began. Great job. Okay, from here we're going to cross our arms over in front of ourselves. You can do this on the floor, but the wall is also really handy. And then for this, you might want to put like something soft. I've got a bit of a textured wall there, so I'm going to try not to scrape my arms. Cross your arms on the wall. You can place the backs of your hands on the wall and then gently release the weight of your chest in towards the wall, feeling a stretch in the back of your shoulders. You might not feel it at the start, but just give it time. Breathe into a little bend in your knees, pushing yourself into the wall, strong core, gently tucking your tailbone under. Shoulders are drawing actively away from your ears. Most importantly, you're breathing. So the backs of our hands are on the wall. My left arm was on top, so I'm going to move that underneath, crossing at your arms, upper arms, placing them against the wall, and pushing gently the weight of your chest. Shoulders are drawing away from your ears. Again, you can do this on the floor as well. Releasing. Taking our hands behind your back, let's clasp our hands together and draw them down away from your shoulders, lifting them gently. So what we'll do is we'll bend forward like we did in ragdoll, but our hands are overhead, palms are pressing together. And if it works for you, when it increases stretch, you can gently back yourself up towards the wall, make contact between your hands and the wall, and then gently bend into your knees, making sure that you protect your elbows, a little millimeter bend in your elbows. You can get a bit of a deeper stretch into your shoulders, opening through the back of your body. Making sure there's no undue pressure on your elbows. So to make sure that I don't have too much pressure on my elbows, I'll actually release my palms from each other. I'm going to straighten back up, change the connection on your hands, so switch the clasp of your hands and come back again, backing yourself gently onto the wall and then bend into your knees, coming kind of into a chair-ish pose near the wall, stretching through. the back of your body. When you're ready, from here we're going to come down, taking our left foot forward, right knee comes down up to the ground. You can gently walk your left foot out to the side, so we're coming into a lizard pose. Both hands come to the inside of your left foot. Allowing the weight of your hips to reach down towards the mat or just fall down towards the mat. Breathing here. Right hand stays on the mat as we open our chest towards our left knee. Reach your left hand up towards the ceiling. Shoulders are dropping away from your ears. And then replacing your hand back down. Inhale to open up. Maybe you want to open a little bit wider this time. And then think about your elbow coming close to the floor. So it doesn't have to touch it, but we're going to compress a little bit more. And then inhale to open up. Shoulders away from your ears and then bending that elbow down towards the ground. Inhale to open up. Last time, coming down towards the ground, it doesn't have to touch it. From here we're going to shift our foot back in, so we're kind of more in a low lunge. Weight of your hips comes back over your right knee, coming into half Hanumanasana or half splits. If your hips have shifted over to the right, which is always kind of a natural way for them to go in this position, take them back to center. Imagine you have a center line on your mat like me. Little bend in that left knee. Inhale to extend, lengthen through your spine. Exhale to fold over your left thigh. Nothing too pressured. We're just opening up through our hamstring, through our hip. Draw those left toes gently towards your face. Make sure there's no tension building in your shoulders or your face. Release your weight forward again, really allowing the weight of your hips to fall towards the mat. In this position, it's okay for your knee to come over your left ankle. Feeling that compression into your lymph at your left hip. And let's take our hands to the ground and gently tip our weight backwards. If it's too much pressure on your knee at any stage, you can fold over your mat to create a double layer. I have a skinny mat, so it doesn't actually create that much padding, but if you have a normal size mat, that should be quite good for you. Or maybe you want to put a towel or your jumper or a cushion under there, tipping your weight forward, stretching through your right hip, compressing into your left hip. Drawing your heart forward. Let's exhale back. Coming forward, go one more time. Really think about dropping the weight of your hips down in that forward lunge, going back. And then forward. Releasing your mat if you folded it over. Let's come and switch sides. So right foot comes forward and then you heel toe it out to the side. Both hands are on the inside like in lizard pose. Breathing here. Your hips are still moving towards the mat. Let's keep our left hand on the mat, little bend in that left elbow. Open your chest towards your left knee. Right hand reaches up towards the ceiling. It's really important to keep those shoulders away from your ears. And touch your right hand down onto the mat again, rotating through your spine. Inhale to open. Maybe you can open a little bit wider this time. Right hand is falling backwards. Touching it down towards the mat. Maybe you think about your elbow coming somewhere close to the mat this time. Inhale to open even wider. Elbow comes down, so chest moves towards the mat. Let's go one more time. Inhale, opening up. And then exhaling. Coming back down. We're going to take our foot back in, so we're in a low lunge. And then shift our hips. Or maybe we'll stay in that low lunge for a second. Allow the weight of your body, your hips, to shift towards the floor. When I do that, I get this really good juicy stretch along the left side of my hip and an incredible compression between my right thigh and the right part of my pelvis. It's a key point for our lymph system So squeezing in there helps to move our lymph around, which is going to help us to feel so much better, so much quicker if you have a hangover, or even if you're just exhausted or whatever. Okay, shift the weight of your hips backwards again. You're going to keep your hips centered over that real line on your mat or your imaginary line. Inhale to lengthen your spine. Exhale to fold forward over that right hip, giving yourself time for your body to loosen out. Right toes are drawing back towards your face. And it's a teeny bend in your right knee to protect it. If your left knee is under any pressure on the ground, you can fold over your mat or get a towel or a jumper, a sweater, whatever it is that would work for you. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to fold a little bit more deeply. Again, we're going to open through your jaw, wiggle through your face, release that tension. And then bring your weight forward into a low lunge, allowing the weight of your hips to really, really dramatically drop towards the mat. Shoulders shifting away from your ears. Breathing there. And shifting your weight backwards. Using your breath. And coming forwards. Pushing your hips forward. Protecting both knees. Shoulders shift away from your ears. Top of your head if you're reaching long. Hands stay on the ground for extra stability. Take your hips back. I think we went one more time on the other side, so let's go one more time, shifting your hips forward. It's a super slow sequence today, but it's so beneficial. Taking your time. Shifting your weight backwards. Shoulders away from your ears. Releasing. Great job. Okay, so next we have options. We either stay on our feet or you want to lie on the ground. Both are really good. So the option when you're on your feet is to bring your back in towards the wall and then bring yourself down into like a wall sit. So if you've ever done wall sits with weights, this is what we're doing. So if you're here, it's going to take a little bit of extra effort from your glutes, but it's really quite satisfying. So we've got a 90-degree angle in our knees, 90-degree in our hips. Take your left foot up onto your right knee, sitting down here. We're going to just rest in a bit of a figure four. So this is a great option if you feel like you want to feel like you're working your body a little bit. Pushing in gently, putting a little bit of weight on your left knee with your left hand. Shoulders shift away from your ears. Breathing here, pushing your back into the wall. I quite enjoy this. If you want to take it to the floor, I want you to sit your bottom, slide your hips into the wall, so try and get as close as you can. And then you're going to bring your feet up the wall. Maybe you want to shimmy your bottom in closer to the bottom of the walls, the skirting board. Take your right foot onto the mat, right foot onto the wall, and then hook your left foot over. So we're doing figure four using the wall instead of the ground. So stretching into the left side of your hip, shoulders shift away from your ears. You kind of get a bit of a deeper stretch in your hip here, but you don't get that sense of working your glutes as much. So whichever style works best for you. Breathing here. If you want, you can release your hands up overhead, thinking about your hips dropping towards the mat. If this is too much, then take your bottom a little bit further away from the wall. Maybe don't come in as tight as I did. You can, if it's not enough, you can walk your right foot down the wall. Make sure those left toes are active, as we always do in our figure four. Releasing your pelvis towards the mat. So nice. I'm not even hungover, and this is amazing. Okay, let's switch sides. So I'm going to stay on the ground, but you know your option at the wall. You come into a wall sit, and we come in a figure four with your right foot over your left knee. Oh, this is a bit tighter for me, so I'm gonna put my left foot up the wall a little bit and get a little release my hands overhead. So nice. I'm just allowing the weight of my pelvis to release towards the mat. Shoulder drawing away from your ears. Maybe a few rolls through your face again to make sure there's no tension building there. Using your breath to release and relax and restore and recover. And as your hips release, maybe you can shift your foot down the wall. Or if you started standing on your feet with your back against the wall, maybe you want to shift into this position. And release, great job. And our final position, we're going to come into just resting with our feet up the wall. It's so restorative, so good for us. So total recovery. If you could only do one posture out of the whole of the sequence, this is the one to do. So flat back, spine is stretching long. You can allow your hands to open up towards the ceiling like we do in Shavasana. If you have any tension around your shoulders, I want you to draw your shoulders up towards your ears and then really energetically roll them back. Shoulder blades draw together at the back. Hands come down onto the ground and then just relax. Little bend in your knees. We have some nice options here as well. And you can take all of them if you stay here for a little bit of time. So feet straight up the wall. Really juicy, really restorative. It's great to do before bed as well. I sometimes just put my bottom up on the pillows and then put my feet up the wall and read a book there for like 2-3 minutes, and it's such a good sleep after that. Next option is to just bend into your knees and kind of place your feet on the wall as if you were squatting on the ground. And that is really nice. So relaxing. You'd stay there for a while, maybe read a book after you do your Shavasana. And then the other option is to come into like a gentle Baddha on the wall. So Baddha is when the outer edges of our feet or the soles of our feet are touching, and we release our knees out to the side. It's really nice to use the wall to support us there, releasing hips down. I think this is how I'm going to finish my session. Taking a couple of breaths here. Taking as long as you need here. This could be a good spot to just rest for 10, 20, 30 minutes. If you're ready to finish up your practice, you can roll over to the right side, gently bringing yourself up to sitting, taking your time. So I hope that has helped you to feel so much better now after doing it. But also, this is going to help you to recover so much quicker. Make sure that you drink lots of water, get some sunlight, and do this sequence again if you have time. Or check out the other hangover sequence, which just uses a chair, which is really, really good as well. I'm Quiva. You can check me out on Instagram at fitgreening_nutrition. You can get me on Facebook, on YouTube, and you can also check out my website where I have lots more yoga videos, lots more breathwork videos. That's fitgreening.com. So I hope to see you guys soon.